All right, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about solving equations in real life. Okay, so what's probably going to happen is, for right now, we're going to go through a couple examples. Okay, I'm going to post, I think, 6 to 9. Okay, and what I want you to do is to write the equation that you think represents the situation in which you're given. Okay, so I'm going to go through 2 examples, maybe 3. Okay, and this is just a good way of looking at it. I know, I need to know, plan and work, and then your solution. Okay, kind of breaks it up a little bit, might help you better understand, kind of lay it out to see what maybe your variable needs to be or something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with number 1. All right, the width of a rectangle is 2 centimeters less than 8 times the length. Okay, the perimeter is 68 centimeters. What are the width and length of the rectangle? So we're talking about a rectangle, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of draw one. Okay, now it said the perimeter was 68 centimeters. Okay, the width of the rectangle is 2 centimeters less than 8 times the length. Okay, now there's a couple different ways you can look at it, but what I'm looking at, this to this, okay, so this point to this point, I'm going to say is the width. Okay, just for now, this is the width. Now, usually it would be length times the length times the width. Okay, so the width of a rectangle is 2 centimeters less than 8 times the length. Well, if this is the width and this is the length, I'm just going to put it way over here. Okay, so the width is 2 centimeters less than 8 times the length. So 8 times the length, well, the length can just be L. Okay, so 8 times would be 8L. Okay, because remember, anytime we have a number and a variable next to each other, that coefficient of variable, that's multiplication. And it says 2 centimeters less than. All right, so 2 less. So subtract 2. Okay. So this is kind of what we get. We get that the width is 2 centimeters less than 8 times the length, and then we have the length. Okay. So I need to know. Well, what you need to know is what are the width and length of the rectangle. Okay. Now, variable. So what is our variable? Well, the variable is the length, right? Because we're using that L, we don't know what the length is. If we knew what the length is, we could figure it out. Length of the rectangle. Okay, and I'm just going to put in parentheses an L. All right, so let's look at this. Now, if I want to find the perimeter, I want to add all of these up. Okay, the perimeter, I'm just going around. Now, if I was finding the area, I'd have to multiply these. Okay, I'd have to multiply length times width. Okay. But for right now, let's just do what the equation would be. Well, we know that the perimeter is equal to 68, and that's 68 centimeters, okay? So we got to add all these together. So L plus 8L, so I got to combine like terms, so that's 9, plus another L is 10, plus another 8 is 18 L. Okay? And then negative 2 plus negative 2, well, that's just negative 4, which is the same thing as minus 4. Okay? Now, I could have shortened that up there. So I have an equation of 18L minus 4 is equal to 68. Okay? So let's write it again. And let's solve it, and then we'll put our solution over here. So I want to do the addition or subtraction first. So this is subtraction, so I got to do addition. I have 18L is equal to 72. Okay. This is multiplication, so I will divide. Okay. I'm left with L is equal to, well, 70. I gotta turn this on. 72, and we're dividing by 18. That gives me 4. So my length my length L, I'll put this in parentheses, is 4, and we're talking about 4 what? Centimeters. Okay. Now, we also want to know what? The width. Well, here's the width. Okay. I know what L is, so I just got to plug in my 4, my length, into my width. Okay, so 8 times 4 is 32, minus 2 is 30. So the width is 30, and again we're talking about centimeters. Okay, now we can always go back and check. So I'm just going to write this smaller. I said my width is 30, my length is 4. So I have 30 plus 30, well, that's 60. Plus 4, 64, plus 4 more, 68. And that's centimeters. And that's what I said my perimeter was. Okay, 68 centimeters. Okay. All right, let's do another example. And I'll slide this one down just a little bit so we can see a little bit. Now listen, this is in your Unit 4 packet, okay? So you should be able to actually look at it, follow along, and take notes the same way I am, okay? So we can so you can use this on a quiz later, okay? Okay, so number 2 says Stephanie is registering her son for swim lessons. There is a one-time $40 registration fee plus a $20 fee per lesson. Stephanie paid a total of $225. For how many lessons did Stephanie register? Okay, so we know as soon as you register, you have to pay $45, and then you pay $20 for each lesson. Okay, and she spent $225. So what we know is the one-time lesson is $45. Okay, it's $20 per lesson. Okay, and we also know total she spent. And we can use that when we do our equation, 225. Okay, so what I need to know, well, it asks, how many lessons? did she pay for? Okay. So what's the variable in this situation? Well, I know how much it costs for, now this is one time, not one time lesson, one time fee, sorry. That's just to get you registered. Okay, so we know that it cost you $45 to register, $20 a lesson. We know how much she made. What we don't know is the number of lessons. Okay, so let's look at this and we can put it in exactly the order that it gives us. So there's a one-time fee of $45. That never changes. Okay, so 45, and look, it even tells us, plus a $20 fee per lesson. Well, plus a $20 fee, now per lesson. Let's just use X, because $20 times the number of lessons. Okay, and that all is equal to $225, which we know is how much she spent. Okay, now once we get here, well, let's work it out, and then we'll write the solution over here. So when we have an equation that looks like this, we have to undo the addition or subtraction. Well, if we undo the addition or subtraction, this is a coefficient of variable. We can't combine it with this. So we look at the first term, this constant. This is a positive, right, because there's nothing in front of it. So if that's a positive 45, we have to subtract 45 to get that to 0. Okay, so see, when I'm writing my positive, that's a plus 45, we'll have to subtract 45. Okay, now I have 20x is equal to 225 minus 45. Okay, that should give me 180. Okay, now this is multiplication here, so instead of doing multiplying, I have to divide, and I'll divide each side by 20. So x is equal to 180 divided by 20, and that will be 9. Okay, so the variable represents what? Number of lessons. So Stephanie, this is who we're talking about. So how many lessons did she register for? Stephanie registered for 9 swim lessons. Okay. Now, writing equations, that takes practice, okay? So that's what we're going to do for today, okay? Now, if you flip your packet over, you'll see these 9. What I want you to do is, and I'm going to put these, on Google Classroom, okay? And they'll be fill in the blank, probably. Okay, they're not going to be multiple choice. All right. So what I want you to do is, I want you to go through, read them, and I want you to try. I don't want you to have to solve them right now. Okay. I know it says write an equation, solve. I just want you to write the equation. Now, if you want to solve to go back and check, that'd be a good idea. Okay. It would be a good idea. But right now, let's practice on trying to just write the equation. Okay? Like I said, if you want to go back and check, that would be okay. So, and I'll put that on Google Classroom as well. So, you're going to have, I don't know if it'll be all of them. Okay? I don't know if it'll be all 9. I might save a couple of them to do in class. Okay? So, go through, try to write your equations, okay? You can have your solution written down, okay, on this packet. So when we get in here, we can talk about it when we're face to face. Okay? So we're going to practice on just writing our equations for today. All right, that'll be all. Hope y'all have a good day, and really try to work on getting these written.